What's up, Pokemon Masters? It's me one more time, Bry Gamer. And as you can see, today I have a top 10 of the best fighting type Pokemons in Pokemon Go. Let's get started. Okay, guys, so in the 10th place we have Shadow Sirfetch'd. This Pokemon is a fighting type Pokemon. It means it's vulnerable against fairy type Pokemons, flying type Pokemons, and finally psychic type Pokemons. This Pokemon is resistant to bug type Pokemons, dark type Pokemons, and rock type Pokemons. Let's talk a little bit about the stats. So it has a max CP of 3375 and attack of 248, a defense of 176, and finally a stamina of 158. As we're gonna need a shadow, we're gonna be dealing a lot of damage, but we're gonna faint very soon. It's kind of like a glass cannon because the attack is very high. So yeah, now let's talk about the moves that this Pokemon has. So as fast attacks, it has Fury Cutter and Counter, and as charge moves, it has Night Slash, Leaf Blade, Close Combat, Brave Bird, and Frustration. The best moveset for this Pokemon as a fighting type Pokemon will be Counter and also Close Combat. And guys, in order to get this Pokemon, we'll have to evolve our Galarian Farfetch by using 15 candies and also landing 10 excellent throws. Let's go to the next Pokemon. In the ninth place, we have Hisuian Decidueye. This Pokemon is a grass and fighting type Pokemon. It means it's vulnerable against flying type Pokemons, fairy type Pokemons, fire type Pokemons, ice type Pokemons, poison type Pokemons, and finally psychic type Pokemon. This Pokemon is resistant against dark type Pokemons, electric type Pokemons, grass type Pokemons, ground type Pokemons, rock type Pokemons, and finally water type Pokemons. Now let's take a look at the stats. So this Pokemon has a max CP of 3275 and attack of 213, a defense of 174, and finally a stamina of 204. In general, this Pokemon is very equilibrated. I think it's meant to resist a little, and I think it's gonna be good in general. But whatever, now let's look about the attacks. So in the fast attacks, this Pokemon has Psycho Cut and Magical Leaf, and as charge moves, it has Aerial Ace, Energy Ball, Aura Sphere, and finally Trailblaze. The best moveset for this Pokemon as a fighting type would be Magical Leaf, because we don't really have any fighting type moves as first attacks, and a charge move it would be Aura Sphere. And in order to get this Pokemon, we've only got one opportunity so far, and it was by playing the Hisui and Decidueye Raid Day. So if you guys didn't play, I'm so sorry to hear that. But if you do have it, then that's a good Pokemon, in the fighting type Pokemons. So let's go to the next Pokemon. In the 8th place, we have Conkeldurr. This Pokemon is a fighting type Pokemon, therefore it is vulnerable to fairy type Pokemons, flying type Pokemons, and finally psychic type Pokemons. This Pokemon is resistant to bug type Pokemons, dark type Pokemons, and finally rock type Pokemons. Let's take a look to the stats. So it has a max CP of 3773, an attack of 243, a defense of 158, and finally a stamina of 233. In general, this Pokemon is really good. It has a good attack, a lot of stamina. Is lacking a little bit of defense, but that's compensated by the stamina that it has. So that's good. Now let's talk about the attacks. So as fast attacks, it has Poison Jab and also Counter. And as charge moves, it has Tonnage, Dynamic Punch, Focus Blast, and finally Brutal Swing. This last move is a legacy move, and we were able to get it by playing the community day of Timber. But if you guys are using it as a fighting type Pokemon, this Brutal Swing is not really that relevant. The best moveset for this Pokemon would be Counter and also Dynamic Punch. And in order to get this Pokemon, we have to evolve Timburr by using 50 candies and then evolving Gurdur into Conkeldurr by using 200 candies or by no cost just by trading it, okay? Let's go to the next Pokemon. Okay guys, so in the seventh place we have our first Mega Evolution. Here we have Mega Lopunny. Mega Lopunny is a normal and fighting type Pokemon. It means it's vulnerable to fairy type Pokemons, fighting type Pokemons, flying type Pokemons, and finally psychic type Pokemons. This Pokemon is resistant to ghost type Pokemons, bug type Pokemons, dark type Pokemons, and finally rock type Pokemons. Now let's take a look to the stats. So it has a max CP of 4,238. It has an attack of 282, a defense of 214, and finally a stamina of 163. Okay, so in general, it's a good Pokemon. It has low stamina, but defenses are okay. It has a high attack, and I think this Mega Lopunny is kind of like a glass cannon once again. So yeah, it's meant to deal a lot of damage, but not resisting that much. So whatever. Now let's talk about the attacks. So as fast attacks, it has low kick, pound, and double kick, and as charge move, it has hyper beam, fire punch, focus blast, and also triple axle. And the best moveset for this Pokemon as a fighting type Pokemon would be Double Kick and Focus Blast. And in order to get this Pokemon, we will have to evolve Bonari into Lopunny by using 50 candies, and then Mega Evolving Lopunny into Mega Lopunny by using 200 of Mega Energy or 40 Mega Energy. It depends. Okay, so let's go to the next Pokemon. Guys, in the sixth place we have Shadow Hariyama. This Pokemon is a fighting type Pokemon. It's vulnerable to fairy type Pokemon, flying type Pokemon, psychic type Pokemon, and it's resistant to bug type Pokemon, dark type Pokemon, and finally rock type Pokemon. Let's take a look to the stats. So it has a max CP of 3,198 and attack of 209, a defense of 114, and finally a stamina of 302. That's a lot of stamina, guys. Wow. Okay, so in general, this Pokemon is pretty good. It has good stats. The only one that is lacking a little bit is the defense, but that's okay because it has a lot of stamina, guys. Let's see the attacks. So it has as fast attacks, bullet punch, and also counter. And as charge moves, it has close combat and dynamic punch, also heavy slam, superpower, and frustration. The best moveset for this Pokemon would be counter and also dynamic punch. And in order to get this Pokemon, we will have to evolve one Shadow Makuhita by using 50 candies. And that's it, guys. So let's go to the next Pokemon. Okay, guys, we're finally in the top 5. And here we have Lucario. Lucario is a fighting and also steel type Pokemon. It's vulnerable to fighting type Pokemon, fire type Pokemon, and also ground type Pokemon. This Pokemon is resistant to bug, poison, rock, dark, dragon, grass, ice, normal, and finally steel type Pokemons. Let's take a look to the stats. So it has a max CP of 3056 an attack of 236, a defense of 144, and finally stamina of 178. Okay, in general, I would say the stats are very low. The defenses are good. I mean, the attack is good, but the others are not really that good at all. But whatever. Let's see what are the attacks. So as fast attack, it has bullet punch and counter, and a charge move, it has flash cannon, shadow ball, close combat, blaze kick, power punch, and finally aura sphere. The best moveset for this Pokemon as a fighting type Pokemon will be counter and also aura sphere. And in order to get this Pokemon, we will have to evolve Riolu into Lucario by using 50 candies. That's it, so let's go to the next Pokemon. Okay guys, so in the fourth place we have Shadow Machamp. Shadow Machamp is a fighting type Pokemon, meaning that it's weak against fairy type Pokemons, flying type Pokemons, psychic type Pokemons, and it is resistant to bug type Pokemons, dark type Pokemons, and finally rock type Pokemons. Let's take a look to the stats. Okay, so it has a max CP of 3,455, an attack of 209, and 38 4, a defense of 159, and finally a defense of 207. In general, I would say it's good. It has a good attack. The defenses are regular, and the stamina is really good. So yeah, as you guys know, we will have to use the shallow one, and that means it has lower defenses, and the attack is a little bit higher, but whatever. It won't be a glass cannon at all, guys. So okay, let's keep going. Now let's talk about the fast attacks. So it has carrot chop, bullet punch, and finally counter. Carrot chop is actually a legacy move. We're not able to learn it anymore. Okay, but let's keep going to the charge moves. As charge move, we have cross chop, stun edge. This one is a legacy move. We have submission. That's also a legacy move. Then we have rock slide, close combat, dynamic punch, heavy slam, frustration, and finally payback. This last one is also a legacy move. The best moveset for this Pokemon will be Counter and Dynamic Punch. We will be able to get this Pokemon by evolving Shadow Mashup into Mashup by using 25 candies. And finally by evolving Mashup into Mashup by using 100 candies or just by trading it. Okay? Guys, we're finally here. We're in the top 3 best fighting type Pokemons. Here we have Keldeo. Keldeo is the fourth member of the Swords of Justice. This Pokemon is a fighting and water type Pokemon. It has the weaknesses to electric type Pokemons, fairy type Pokemons, flying type Pokemons, grass type Pokemons, and also psychic type Pokemons. It is resistant to bug type Pokemons, dark type Pokemons, fire type Pokemons, ice type Pokemons, rock type Pokemons, steel type Pokemons, and finally water type Pokemons. That's a lot, guys. Okay, let's take a look at the stats. It has a max CP of 4181, an attack of 260, a defense of 192, and finally a stamina of 209. Okay, in general, it has good stats. This Pokemon is a mythical Pokemon. Of course, it's gonna have good stats, guys. But yeah, now let's talk about the attacks. So as fast attacks, it has low kick and poison jab, and as charge moves, it has aqua jet, egg scissor, hydro pump, close combat, and sacred sword. The best moveset for this Pokemon would be low kick and sacred sword. And in order to get Keldeo, we will have to finish the special investigation called Something Extraordinary. Okay, guys, we're in the top 2, and we have another member of the Sacred Swords. Guys, this is crazy. The 5th generation has a lot of fighting type Pokemons that are doing really good in the meta right now. Like, okay, let's see. We have Terrakion here. Terrakion is a fighting and also a rock type Pokemon. That means this Pokemon is vulnerable to Fairy type Pokemon, Fighting type Pokemon, Grass type Pokemon, Ground type Pokemon, Psychic type Pokemon, Steel type Pokemon, and Water type Pokemon. This Pokemon is resistant to Bug type Pokemon, Dark type Pokemon, Fire type Pokemon, Normal type Pokemon, Poison type Pokemon, and finally Rock type Pokemon. Let's take a look to the stats. So Terrakion has a max CP of 4181, an attack of 260, a defense of 192, and finally stamina of 209. Okay, it's pretty good this Pokemon. All the stats are very equilibrated, and it's not a glass cannon or anything. It will resist a lot and deal a lot of damage, guys. Okay, so now let's see the attacks. So as fast attacks, it has Sand Headbutt, then it has Smackdown and Double Kick, and as charge moves, it has Earthquake, Rock Slide, Close Combat, and finally Sacred Sword. This last move is a legacy move, guys. And if you're not able to have this move, you can use it with close combat. The best moveset for this Pokemon would be Double Kick and Close Combat, being this last one a legacy move. The best moveset for this Pokemon would be Double Kick and Sacred Sword, But if you are not able to get this move, you can use close combat instead. In order to get this Pokemon, we will have to play the Terrakion 5-star raids, guys. So if you were able to get a Terrakion, then that's good. But so far, there's no current Terrakion raids, so we have to wait a little, guys. Let's go to the next Pokemon. Guys, we're in the top 1, and as you can see, the top 1 is Mega Blaziken. This Pokemon is a fire and fighting type Pokemon. It means it's vulnerable to flying type Pokemons, ground type Pokemon, psychic type Pokemons, and water type Pokemon. This Pokemon is resistant to bug type Pokemons, dark type Pokemons, fire type Pokemons, grass type Pokemons, ice type Pokemons, and finally, steel type Pokemons, guys. Wow, that was a lot. I'm tired. Okay, now let's take a look to the stats. It has a max CP of 4,704, a attack of 329, a defense of 168, and finally a stamina of 190. Okay, in general, I would say it's good. The attack is crazy, guys. That's a lot. Actually, I don't remember seeing another Pokemon with a higher attack than this one. There might be someone else with higher attack, but I'm not sure now. So whatever. In general, it's good, guys. Like this is, I won't say it's like glass cannon, but it kind of is. It's gonna deal a lot of damage, and I won't say it's gonna resist a little, but it's gonna be very hard to defeat. Now let's talk about the attacks. As fast attacks, it can learn counter, fire spin, that's it. And as charge moves, it can learn stun edge. This one is a legacy move. Then it can learn focus blast, brave bird, overheat, blastborn, and blaze kick. Blastborn is a legacy move once again, guys. But if we're gonna use this Pokemon as a fighting type Pokemon, we would have to use counter and also focus blast, guys. Okay, and in order to get this Pokemon, we will have to evolve Torchic into Combusken by using 25 candies, and then evolving Combusken into Blaziken by using 100 candies, and finally Mega Evolving Blaziken into Blaziken by using 200 or 40 Mega Energy. So that's it, guys. That's the end of the video. This was a crazy top tier list of fighting type Pokemons. There were Pokemons that I wasn't expecting at all to be here, but apparently they are, so that's great. I'm gonna start using them if I ever need to. And that's it, guys. Let me know in the comments what you think. Also, like the video, subscribe, and share with your friends. Thank you so much once again for watching the video, and see you next time. Bye!